These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in a crisis, shrink from the service of his country, but he that stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. Yet we have this consolation with us that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. When we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. It is dearness only that gives everything its value. Heaven knows how to put a proper price upon its goods, and it would be strange indeed if so celestial an article as freedom should not be highly rated. I call not upon a few, but upon all, not on this state or that state, but on every state. Up and help us, lay your shoulders to the wheel. Better have too much force than too little when so great an object is at stake. Let it be told to the future world that in the depth of winter, when nothing but hope and virtue could survive, that the city and the country, alarmed at one common danger, came forth to meet and to repulse it.
Those were Thomas Paine's words. They were read to and by George Washington's troops on December 25th, 1776. At the time, they knew that this was a crucial battle. In the grand scheme of military history, it would not be noted as anything significant, except it was, in that moment, pivotal to this country's securing its independence. The message that it sent was inspiring to the men in their service. Washington was looking for anything to get them encouraged and hopeful as they set forth on what would be a bloody battle for American independence. At the heart of those very basic words, Thomas Paine reminds us that we have to lean in together. Nothing great is easy. And everything that we hope to achieve has to be earned by leaning in, meeting the moment, coming forth to meet it together. I am thrilled that we are back together as a community and that we are here at the Stissing Center in the town of Pine Plains. Yes, Chairman Pulver, for 314 years, you look pretty good. But I echo Greg's comments. We probably have learned as much from each other as public servants together and as friends, and I am tremendously grateful for your leadership and that of the county legislature. Republicans and Democrats working together, at times a little less orderly than perhaps those troops on the battlefield, but that's what democracy often looks like, to confront the moment. We as a community have built for this very moment. Now, we are not fighting for our independence, although the promise of achieving that has been the challenge for America ever since the Declaration of Independence. Year after year, generation after generation, striving to achieve the promise of American independence and freedom. But what we have achieved together over the last decade is significantly important. We began 10 years ago with a national recession. And here in our community, we confronted a depleted fund balance, unemployment at some of the highest rates in generations. And together, we took on the challenge and set forth on difficult decisions to overcome those obstacles. And what we face today is equally daunting to many people. And yet, despite the fact that our county government is in a good place, we know that the average American family and individual small businesses and farmers and seniors throughout our community are facing struggles like we've not seen in generations. COVID has shifted our economy, highest rate of inflation in 40 years, utility prices on the rise, mortgage rates continue to go up, housing costs off the charts, Everything from cars to groceries becoming more and more difficult to attain. Inflation is impacting everyone and everything. But we as a community have built for this moment, and we meet it through smart fiscal decisions and 10 years of trying to make the right choices for the people we serve. We overcame what we faced in 2012, rebuilding our fund balance, making smart fiscal choices that established Dutchess County government as the strongest among counties in the state, highest bond rating of any county in the state of New York. And over this last year, making smart choices to retire debt, nearly $12.5 million worth of debt retired. We used fund balance to avoid issuing $16 million in debt, resulting in $4.5 million in savings for Dutchess County taxpayers. We take seriously our responsibility as stewards and caretakers of your hard-earned money. And our philosophy remains that if we don't need it, we won't take it. If we can give it back, we do. And because of those choices, Dutchess County spends less, taxes less, and borrows less than nearly every county in the state per capita. We have made the tough choices, and it is reflected in our taxes as a county over the last 8 years, providing 8 consecutive property tax reductions. In fact, this year, 2022, thanks to your leadership, we have provided the largest property tax reduction in the history of Dutchess County, $5.5 million. Because of growth in our economy, we provided a 10% property tax rate reduction, and we are offering this year sales tax exemptions on clothing, and we are the first county in the state of New York to cut and cap the sales tax on gas. We will not profit on the pain that you feel, we feel at the pump. Together, property tax relief, sales tax reductions, cut and cap of the gas tax, we are providing this year $22 million in annualized tax relief for Dutchess County taxpayers. Together with towns, villages, and cities, we've dedicated our efforts to new innovation and incentivizing shared services. And over the last decade, we have supported 120 projects throughout the 20 towns, 8 villages, and 2 cities. $16 million of Dutchess County resources directed to towns, villages, and cities, for everything from infrastructure investment to shared services, from accessibility to breaking down barriers for all residents. In this town alone, we funded here in Pine Plains an inclusive wheelchair accessible play space at Stissing Lake Beach. Additionally, in Hyde Park, as a reference, we invested in ADA accessible, universally accessible playground equipment and sensory components, and a quiet space for overstimulation at a park in Hyde Park. Working with towns, villages, and cities, we've strived to make smart investments that make a difference in the life of the people we serve while driving down cost. And I want to pause at this moment to thank the supervisors and mayors, Republicans and Democrats, who over the last decade, but over the last 2 years, have leaned against that wheel, come together to meet this moment, and have provided great leadership for the people of Dutchess County. You have our appreciation and thanks. Together, our goal has been county government, local government, partnering together to try to keep Dutchess County as affordable and as safe as possible for families, for seniors, for our kids. And I will say this clearly and candidly. The very underpinnings of public safety are being threatened. Cashless bail in the state of New York has jeopardized public safety. End of sentence. Cashless bail, as proposed and adopted in this state, has undermined our ability to provide for public safety. By limiting judicial discretion, it undermines and weakens the ability for law enforcement to do its job. By casting aside the ability to assess risk among those who present themselves in the criminal justice system, that and the new burdens of discovery laws all are putting a great amount of pressure on prosecution and defense to meet the needs of providing not only for public safety but for justice. All of this weakens our ability to provide for community safety. And, by the way, casts aside nearly a decade of engaged, aggressive, and progressive services here in Dutchess County meant to support community policing, meant to help in the criminal justice system, and yes, meant to invest in the lives of those alleged to have offended. This law jeopardizes the welfare of offenders. It impacts, in fact, our ability to address homelessness and domestic violence. Our own data shows that 50% of those who commit crimes, these crimes that are no longer bailable, are likely to have reoffended. How many times? We don't know. How many new victims? We won't know. But victims are created, public safety weakened, and victims themselves are at risk. In many cases, re-victimized. In Dutchess County, we will continue to invest in smart community policing, and we will stand with victims of crime in this community. We will continue to make investments in domestic violence and our response to child abuse. The budget you adopted this year, nearly $4 million in annualized commitment to ensure support for victims. Additionally, we continue to make strides and efforts to enhance the criminal justice system so that we treat everyone with the respect they deserve. There must be only one form of justice in this country, not one for wealthy and one for poor, but one for anyone, dependent on the crime and the risk, but at the end of the day, ensuring that justice is served. One population within our community often lost in the criminal justice system, deserving of increased care, are our veterans. These American heroes deserve our attention and support. This year, in fact, this quarter, we will begin a Veterans Justice Court in partnership with the City of Beacon and Dutchess County Court Judge Jessica Siegel. We're grateful to their partnership, and we will launch this effort this year as a means of ensuring veterans trapped within the criminal justice system have the attention and care they deserve. Additionally, we have had for generations Dutchess County residents who have and continue in service to this country. They are, by definition, American heroes, whether they wish to be referred to as such or not. Dutchess has been without a singular place to provide a honorary resting place, if you will, for those veterans no longer with us. In partnership with the Wappingers Rural Cemetery, we are going to provide them the honor they deserve by establishing a veterans cemetery in Wappingers Falls. Additionally, as the federal government announced only weeks ago, its abandonment of Castle Point and veteran services associated with that healthcare institution here in Dutchess County, that for generations has provided important medical and behavioral health support to veterans in our community. We intend to continue to organize and push back, and in a bipartisan fashion. Republicans and Democrats, state, local, and federal, pushing back on a short-sighted decision. And we will stand with our veterans to ensure that there is no reduction, nor acceptance of reduction in services, and that the physical and the mental health services that are provided here in Dutchess County continue. Additionally, thanks to legislator Will Truitt, we'll be presenting a $150,000 budget request to launch a micro-grant program to support investment in our veteran service organizations throughout Dutchess County to make much-needed capital improvements at American Legions and VFWs all throughout Dutchess County. This year, your leadership, the legislature, by investing an additional $70,000 in veteran services, expands the Vet Zero Ride program. Already this year, having provided nearly 480 rides to veterans to important job interviews, healthcare appointments, and other necessities. This partnership has proven invaluable, and we know that connecting veterans to services is critical. This moment before I recognize the gentleman who was at this podium just before, I'd like to ask you to join me in recognizing not only all of those who serve our veterans, Adam Roach leading our Veterans Division for Veteran Services, but all of the men and women in our audience tonight who have and or continue in service to this country. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. God bless you. I was so grateful that U.S. Army Specialist Theo Lewis Lawrence joined us this evening, and I was grateful that he would share a bit of his experience. Veterans coming home today live with wounds we can see and those we can't, and the struggles that many have are real. They deserve nothing less than us to meet them where they are and help them on their path to where they wish to be. To him and to all of you, we're grateful. The face of mental health and behavioral health, the face of homelessness, and the impact of those challenges many people encounter every day has changed and evolved. Many in our homeless community, many struggling with mental health concerns, many struggling with substance use disorder, are American heroes. They deserve our respect and our support. You deserve nothing less and shouldn't have to fight for the help and support of your government. And so we're grateful to you. Supporting those who serve our country and those who serve our community remains a priority for all of us. Whether in emergency response or law enforcement or fire, every man and woman, volunteer and career, contribute to the success and the security of our community. And so let me say on behalf of Dutchess County government, first to the men and women of law enforcement, we stand with you. We will continue to provide you the support and the tools and the training and the respect you need to do your jobs well. And I'd like to acknowledge all of those in law enforcement who, over the last year and a half in this county, but I'd like to say despite the epiphany that some state leaders had when it came to law enforcement a year and a half ago, over the last decade, Dutchess County's Sheriff's Office, its deputies, its local police agencies, and our partnership with the state police have been on the cutting edge. As the late Sheriff Butch Anderson once said of just the deputies, I would say law enforcement in Dutchess County is second to none. Every one of you has contributed to not only the safety and security of our community, but to improving the way in which we do business. I know that Acting Sheriff Imperati wasn't able to be here with us this evening. He is, I will say, enjoying some much-needed break time with his family. I didn't want to necessarily out him in that way, but I thought it was appropriate to let you know why he's not here. He's earned it. But as he has said often, we want tomorrow to be better than today. What we do well today must be made better tomorrow. The work that you have done in police, law enforcement modernization and reform is not only commendable, it is something that ought to be emulated across the state of New York. In fact, this year, Dutchess County's latest class of new law enforcement, potential law enforcement employees is the most diverse that this county has ever seen. And our academy itself, the most diverse we have ever graduated. But regardless of where you come from or how long you've lived here, the men and women in law enforcement in Dutchess County do tremendous work. And tonight we are joined by members of the 20-person graduating class of that academy, and I'd ask them to stand and be recognized. You deserve our respect and our support and our gratitude. We are grateful to all of you. We are also thankful for the helpers, those career and volunteer firefighters and emergency response personnel who, without any notice, respond whether called on a pager or a good old-fashioned siren at the firehouse, or without any any early notice, if you will, to provide for our community. Thanks to the partnership with the county legislature this year, we're launching a Firefighters Grant. This will provide small grant opportunities for training, equipment, and capital projects. I should say not just small, some very large opportunities for capital project investments as well. The effort here is to use our municipal innovation grant dollars to make a difference to support those in fire and EMS. Additionally, I acknowledge Legislator Ben Geller for bringing forward a property tax credit proposal that we're going to move forward with in a request to the county legislature. In partnership with the legislature, this 10% reduction in assessed valuation will provide a modest relief to area firefighters. Now, we're working with Senator Sue Serino. There's a little glitch in state law that caps the amount we can offer based on population. Apparently, if we were just a few thousand people larger, we could offer a larger exemption. Well, there is a county upstate that was able to overcome that challenge, and we hope that you would support Senator Serino's effort to get the state legislature to provide us that same opportunity so that we can offer a broader property tax exemption to Dutchess County's volunteer fire and EMS personnel. Additionally, we're confronting one of our long-standing struggles. I know that many people think that communication in and throughout emergency response is seamless and universal. In fact, after the tragic and hateful attacks of September 11th, this nation engaged in an effort to try to enhance communication among emergency response agencies. Here we are in 2022, and America still has these challenges. Interoperability and coverage, all still a challenge. The county legislature has joined us in committing $10 million in aid to overcome this challenge, dramatically improving coverage for emergency communications and supporting fire and EMS and emergency response of all kinds throughout the county. Additionally, we are blessed with an interagency response structure when it comes to fire investigation and mobile command. Thanks again to the legislature's commitment to our emergency responders. We're moving forward with the purchase of a mobile unified command center. This state-of-the-art vehicle will be one of the only vehicles arriving this year, if you're trying to buy a car, but it will arrive this year, and we will put it to use here in Dutchess County. Our Fire Investigations Division, one of a kind in the state, continues to work with both career and volunteer fire to identify the origin of fires that occur throughout the county. That vehicle in need of replacement, we're moving forward with a replacement to the Fire Investigation Division response vehicle as well. As I noted, I've served as a member of the Tivoli Fire Department, both active and associate, over the last 30 years. When I first began, the siren would go off, but only years before that, you would call Ms. Betty Simmons, and she would tell her husband to go up to the firehouse and sound off the alarm so that the firemen and firewomen would know where to go. Emergencies occur at all hours of the day, whether planned or not. In fact, mostly not. Whether we are at the fire station or in the community, whether you are career or volunteer or perhaps just driving by, heroes are called upon every day. And tonight we'd like to recognize one of them, who, while off duty, as actually most volunteer firefighters are, except when they're responding, they're off duty, used CPR to help revive a teenager that fell through the ice right next door in the Roosevelt Fire District. Would you join me tonight in recognizing Roosevelt Fire Department firefighter Wendy Burns and her husband, who was helpful, Don Burns. Wendy. Wendy, you exemplify and embody, whether you like it or not, the response infrastructure that we rely on every day. Volunteers and career firefighters help to keep us safe. We are also joined by several of those teenagers. We are joined this evening by Evan Clark, Liam McAteer, and Connor Van Tassel, and we are grateful to have you here with us. I am confident that you learned two valuable lessons, one about safety and the other about service. May both of those lessons carry you forward to great success as you grow up in our community. God bless you, and thank you for being here with us this evening. Nearly a decade ago, we confronted what had been a long-standing challenge in the county's criminal justice system and a broken component of our response to restoration and criminal justice throughout our community. The Justice and Transition Center was certainly not without its own controversy, but I can tell you without hesitation, in order to ensure a robust criminal justice system, in order to ensure the safety of our staff, in order to ensure that we have the tools and resources to invest in those who are incarcerated in our care, we need a modern facility that meets both space needs and service needs. We are moving fast and furious thanks to a project labor agreement and partnership with area trades and other contractors in our community with the development and finalization of the Justice and Transition Center. This new facility is safer, it will require less staff intensity, and will help to drive down recidivism. It's investing in not only the staff, but the individuals. This project is not only on time, it is significantly under budget. And we continue to move forward with that project. And I'd like to thank the men and women of Dutchess County's corrections staff, who every day sacrifice as well. They may not be on the roads, but they are certainly behind those walls, and we are grateful and pray for their safety, and we are thankful for their service. Additionally, Dutchess County continues to invest in programs that help rehabilitate. We see the value of every life. And this Justice and Transition Center will allow us to expand our Restart program, doubling the space, allowing us to invest more. We are going to expand our medication for opioid use disorder. This has been a highly successful maintenance program meant to address addiction. And we've led the state of New York, in fact, engaging in these services, MOUD, ahead of the state expectation. And we've seen great success, helping to save lives and encourage individuals to regain their lives. Next, we'll expand to include Sublocade, which is a long-lasting version of Suboxone, which allows for less intense interaction and longer-standing commitment to addressing those issues of addiction. At the same time, Dutchess continues to expand our focus on prevention, investing in mental health services, all as an effort to combat and address addiction, mental and behavioral health, and public safety. Thanks to dollars secured through the opioid settlement, we extend our appreciation to the Attorney General of the State of New York, Tish James, who has remained committed to ensuring the dollars secured through this settlement go to the programs and services that we expect. There was an effort to raid those dollars, but instead we've all pushed back as communities to ensure that those dollars remain dedicated to mental health and substance use disorder assistance. Using those dollars, Dutchess County, being among the first counties in the state to initiate that litigation, will be launching LEAD, Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion. Using these dollars, we'll engage in intensive case management for people with some very complex human needs. Many of those individuals are among our more chronic homeless population, and the current system is just not sufficient to provide help. This effort through LEAD will create individual intervention plans and an action blueprint to help individuals find their way to sobriety, overcome the challenges of addiction, and provide at the same time the connection we need to provide for greater public safety. Trauma-informed care has been a cornerstone, a hallmark of Dutchess County's response to mental health. Over the last several years, we've engaged in mental health first aid training to over 1,000 individuals. We provided 4,800 training opportunities for Narcan use, and we will launch this year a new Mental Health 101. This will be on the ground and in the community, training to ensure those individuals who have family members or loved ones or come into contact with those who might be struggling with mental health or maybe dealing with their own issues themselves. The tools they need to not be bystanders, but engaged activists in helping to save lives and improve the quality of life. We will bring this to as many neighborhoods, communities, and corners throughout Dutchess County, trying to encourage every member of our community to use the tools in the toolbox to provide for mental health care and support. Additionally, we know and we have seen an increase in violence among young people. We have seen the issues of trauma and crisis in our schools and among our kids. And our goal has been to invest aggressively to prevent crime and to prevent incidents of violence. Now, the response to several incidents in and around the city of Poughkeepsie led us this year to invest in a behavioral health training initiative. Thanks to the leadership of Dutchess County's Department of Behavioral and Community Health, we engaged in a partnership to train 800 Poughkeepsie City School District teachers, staff, and administrators. Additionally, by focusing, by the way, on providing how individuals can identify students who are affected by stress and trauma, to create long-lasting connections, to de-escalate situations, and to engage in helping young people when they need it the most. You never know what kind of trauma or incident may have affected a young person. How they react to trauma is different than how adults might react to trauma, and making sure that we have the resources and tools there at the right moment to intervene is critical to prevent crime, violence, and sadly, the taking of even one's life. In March, we launched a youth and police initiative. This YPI training, in partnership with the Poughkeepsie City School District, enabled us to bring together students and law enforcement from the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office, the City of Poughkeepsie Police Department, the New York State Police, together building positive interaction and change and trust between young people and law enforcement. I'm grateful to Carmen Smallwood, our Department of Community and Family Services, our Department of Behavioral and Community Health, and those in law enforcement who partnered to make this happen. And I want to extend our appreciation again to not only all of those in law enforcement, but the Dutchess County Sheriff's PBA. Each and every one of you collectively have been partners in responding to the needs of this community, and we're grateful to you for that. Same time, Dutchess County... At the same time, Dutchess County is not only ready and prepared, but we will lead in the integration and launch of the 988 mental health hotline. It was only a year ago that we began the integration of 911 services, our dispatchers, great staff, with our helpline staff, together, connecting in an emergency those who might need mental health support with those who might need emergency response. That integration has allowed us to enhance our response to crime, to emergencies, and to mental health concerns countywide. It allows us to deploy the right resource at the right time to meet the moment. And because of this integration, we will become the regional hub for the 988 helpline, allowing us to be not only a leader, but to continue to provide and deploy support for those throughout the region. Now, overall community health needs have been certainly at the forefront these last 2 years. We're thankful to funding we secured was secured by Assemblymember Dee Dee Barrett that will allow us this year to move forward with our planned mobile operations. This mobile health facility, if you will bring support, veteran support, Office for the Aging support, mental health, physical health to corners and corridors throughout Dutchess County, in particular, Legislator Pulver, Eastern and Northern Dutchess. And we're grateful to be able to do that, expanding the reach of our service providers and bringing these resources to communities and neighborhoods that need them. Dutchess County's ITAP program has been tremendously successful, and we've focused our resources on diversion and treatment for those within the mental health and substance use disorder communities, if you will, systems. We will expand ITAP this year to include a second track of programming focused on co-occurring mental health concerns among those involved in the criminal justice system. By expanding those services, we'll meet people where they are and acknowledge that many within the criminal justice system in particular are facing multiple diagnoses in areas of behavioral and community health. But together with partners in this community, we will do something that is utterly and absolutely necessary. We will partner to expand inpatient long-term care for those with mental health and substance use disorder. And I will use this moment to say unabashedly that what New York State did a generation ago and what this country has allowed to occur for those living with long-term mental health and substance use disorder needs is a crime. It is an embarrassment, and it is pathetic. When we closed institutions, the state and federal government didn't restore any services. And so counties like ours were struggling to meet the needs of individuals with some complex human issues. Well, we will meet the moment and work with our partners today to meet a need that this community and every community in this country has. And so together, we'll be expanding community capacity for inpatient rehabilitation beds through a partnership with St. Joseph's. And tonight, I'm proud to announce a partnership with Westchester Medical Center and Mid-Hudson Regional Hospital. Thanks to a partnership with WMC Health and a $3 million county commitment, we will move forward with the establishment of a Center of Excellence for Behavioral Health here in Dutchess County. WMC has committed to adding 60 new staff members in Dutchess and Ulster, expanding inpatient treatment beds, dramatically shifting programming and therapeutic philosophy in and around our region. Together with WMC Health, we will create new in-bed long-term care opportunities that will be of benefit not only to Dutchess, but to Ulster County. This partnership is critical. It will change and shift the paradigm and the way in which we provide long-term support for those living with mental health. And we are grateful to Kelly McMillan, Senior Vice President at WMC Health, who is here with us this evening. Thank you, Kelly. No matter what your struggle, we must meet you where you are and help you to get where you need to be. We have engaged in a number of initiatives. Restart will now expand to include Recharge, Reentry, Community Housing, and Resource-Guided Empowerment. Building on our Restart initiative, this is a safe and secure housing opportunity with intense case management and employment assistance for those needing transitional housing with support. That, plus a new women's residence that we've partnered with Project More to open this March. We are expanding transitional housing opportunities to those who struggle with difficult challenges. And the focus here is to help people get from homelessness or incarceration, from institutionalization to independence. And those partnerships will not only improve the individual quality of life, but the quality of life of our community as a whole. And we will continue our efforts to create new housing opportunities, because opportunity and housing is necessary in order to have a secure and safe and affordable community. Just a week ago, we released some important data and information regarding housing in our community. Let's be very clear. At the foundation of every family and at the corner of every community is a home. What that home looks like and how one treats it can be different. But in order to have a safe and affordable a safe and secure community, one must have a safe and secure home. And there are too many who struggle in our community attaining housing, living with housing instability, or making ends meet to afford their home. We have learned and we have known for years that the housing stock in this community and throughout the region is scarce. There remains a shortage in units for those at both the lowest and highest end of the income scale. And I want to say that again because it's important to understand. When you do not have an adequate housing ladder, what is that? Every rung of affordability. What is affordable to me is certainly cheaper than what is affordable to Greg Pulver. But knowing what Adam Roach makes, it's more affordable, more expensive than Adam Roach can afford. Every level, every layer, every rung of the housing ladder needs to be made available. And what we've seen in our community is that those at the lower end of the housing ladder don't have the ability to enter housing or to move up with housing. And those at the highest end, who have mobility, who have flexibility, and who have wealth, are buying down. They're staying in homes that could be made available to middle or higher income earners. They're purchasing properties that would be affordable to lower or moderate income families and taking them off the market. And what that does is create pressure at both ends of the housing ladder, creating this challenge in the middle. And so we've got to ensure that both occur, and we've acknowledged that the scarcity at both ends create an affordability crunch. Now, this isn't new to us. I've been talking about this since I was mayor of Tivoli. Did you know that I was... Never mind. This has been a challenge for Dutchess and the Hudson Valley ever since the suburbanization of America, the malling of America, when we traded in sidewalks for two-car garages and neighborhoods and community for commuting. But that has created a crunch, and the change in the economy, the response to and the aftermath of COVID has created new urgency, and we must meet this moment. First, in order to address the most severe of housing needs, Dutchess County has spent basically the last 12 months, over 2 years, but 12 months, studying and analyzing homelessness in and throughout our community. And so let me say, perhaps more artfully than Commissioner Sabrina Marzuka said, the system for caring for those who are homeless in Dutchess County and in America stinks. It's crappy, it's insufficient, it is ineffective, and by the way, it is inhuman. In many ways, this country treats those who are homeless one of two ways: ignore their existence or blame them for being homeless. Neither is acceptable, and neither acknowledges that every life has value, and that with the right investment, with the right incentive, and with the right opportunity, we can get people to confront the challenges they face and get them from homelessness to hopefully housing independence. Our system doesn't do that, and we have a moral imperative to address it, and we must address it now. Not 6 months from now, not a year from now. We do not accept those models or plans, if you will, that some communities embrace, letting homeless people just live wherever they wish. That is a challenge and an affront to them and to the communities they live in. We also don't embrace the kind of methods that other communities use, bulldozing tents and pushing aside the homeless, casting them aside, walking beyond them, pretending as if they don't exist. That is not acceptable either. The model we choose in this county, and we have presented to the Dutchess County Legislature, is not only built around the Bergen County, New Jersey model, but it is basically a successful effort to achieve functional zero in homelessness. It invests in people and provides the investment in services necessary to motivate behavior. Together, if we move forward together, and I'm hopeful that the county legislature will embrace this model, we will invest in the wraparound services and support infrastructure necessary in one space to help people overcome complex human issues. We recognize that an emergency shelter brings with it challenges to a community. And so we are committing to partner with the city of Poughkeepsie, investing in their police department to expand community policing and their beat cop services, mental health and law enforcement in and around this shelter and the neighborhood beyond. It is critical that we provide not only the services to support the safety of the individuals, but to confront safety concerns in the community. Together we can do that. Our success depends on our willingness to meet this moment, to lean up against the wheel and confront this long-standing challenge. And so let me be abundantly clear. Dutchess County has the ability to end homelessness as we know it if we are willing to take the time and the risk to do it right. I know that there are some in our community who want more time, time that those living on our streets are not afforded, time that those who struggle with mental illness are not afforded, time for those with substance use disorder do not have, and perhaps time among those who are contemplating taking their own life do not have. We have studied, we have analyzed, and we have presented to the county legislature a proposal. If we embrace it, we have a year and a half to move forward with developing the services and the support infrastructure, confronting community and public safety needs, and building with you, Republicans and Democrats, city and county, the right response, not for the Bergen County model, but for the Dutchess County model. One that fills a gap in our criminal justice system. One that brings together our stabilization center with our mobile intervention team. One that takes the investment in LEAD and the support we've made and the service investment we've made in young people and brings it all together for a population that too many people would like to pretend doesn't exist. And so I leave before the county legislature this proposal, and I will accept your opinion. But I can tell you this, we are on the right path, and we are moving in the right direction. And we will not allow more time to take away from the value of the lives of people who call our community home. We know that homelessness is not only the result of, for some, chronic mental illness. Homelessness in many cases, and in most cases, is the result of lack of housing. And therefore, our success in addressing homelessness means that we must also address the need for transitional housing, the ability to move up from housing instability to housing security. The analysis that we conducted and the information we presented to the county legislature will be met with a financial commitment. I will propose that we move forward with 3 tools in the toolbox. Number 1, working with towns, villages, and cities across Dutchess County to identify areas, development sites within communities where we can move affordable housing projects. And again, what is affordable in one community is different in another community. But together, identify what those are and invest the dollars to make them site-ready. Generic environmental impact statements, conducting the shovel-ready, the seeker reviews, go through the process to ensure that we have sites ready for development. We're going to put money towards that. Additionally, we will propose the creation of a housing trust fund. This will provide us at least $2 million in funding that we will dedicate that will be flexible, allowing us to aid actual construction projects. And lastly, we will support, using federal dollars, investment in associated infrastructure, bringing water and sewer and other infrastructure needs to drive down cost and time to move projects through our system more effectively. Together with your support, the county legislature support, we will dedicate $20 million of federal assistance and Dutchess County resources to address homelessness, housing, and associated infrastructure, and we will move on it immediately if you will let us. Additionally, there are hundreds and hundreds of housing development projects underway throughout Dutchess County. And again, attempting to meet all of those housing ladder needs, from the Academy Food Hall to Eastdale Village, 160 Union, Queen City Lofts, 1 Dutchess, Traditions at Red Hook, LaGrange Farms at Overlook, Crannell Square, Raymond Avenue, the former Arthur S. May School project in the Arlington District in Poughkeepsie, and a project that we have been working on with the town of Poughkeepsie for a very long time in partnership with Rubco. We will move forward with the massive redevelopment of the Schatz Brownfield to develop 250 units through a public and private partnership, 70 to 80% of which will be affordable housing to transform that property and restore housing opportunity in and around the town of Poughkeepsie. Additionally, Dutchess County recognizes that not only must we continue to invest in housing opportunity, we must create economic opportunity for everyone. And what that means is we have to confront some of those obstacles that remain in our way. We've learned over the last 2 years how challenging it is to access and have access to high-speed internet services. As if, by the way, there were leaders at the federal and state level who just cast people home. They said, kids, you don't have to come to school, you're going to learn on a computer, and told teachers you'll be handcuffed to some laptop or a tablet somewhere, not knowing whether or not they even had the ability to access the internet. And we know this throughout the state. There continues to be great gaps in high-speed internet. And by the way, the state of New York has all the data. The state of New York knows where the gaps are. The state of New York knows where there is lack of operability, lack of affordability, lack of access. But they won't tell us They hoard their data. They use it as a control mechanism. Well, we've confronted this for years, and we're moving forward, as you likely know, with our high-speed internet, not only survey, but a plan to bridge that digital divide, to create greater access, affordability, and speed to high-speed internet service for families, for farmers, for small businesses, and we're moving forward with that aggressively. Only a decade ago, you could have written the obituary for farming in Dutchess County. And Greg knows this firsthand. He's a farmer. Did you know that? But in all fairness, farming was shrinking in Dutchess County a decade ago. Thanks to your efforts, Dutchess County is the home to over 100,000 acres of farmland. And together, we have preserved over 5,300 acres of farmland and open space through our Partnership for Manageable Growth. And today, the number of farms in Dutchess County is at its highest rate since 1974. Agriculture is a growing thing in this community and remains one of our largest industries. Its partnership with tourism and agritourism has created new opportunity. Those farms generating $50 million in sales throughout Dutchess County. Agritourism bringing neighbors and visitors from all across the globe, providing opportunity and support to farmers and farming. We've partnered with anyone who wishes to invest in agriculture in this community, from Taste New York, creating new opportunities and a marketplace for local goods, to our partnership with 4-H, expanding opportunity for young people, Cornell Cooperative Extension, and Future Farmers of America. Expansion in every corner of this county, and I might add, to individuals of every ability throughout our county. This year, in fact, for the first time, we're expanding our Agriculture Advisory Committee to include 2 young people to provide us at least their insight, their experience, and hopefully encourage them to remain in agriculture and farming in Dutchess County. Critically important. Another sector of our economy often overlooked. We often say that manufacturing is on its way out. Well, manufacturing remains a very strong component of Dutchess County's economy, and in partnership with Dutchess Community College, one of our greatest assets, we are investing in a mechatronics lab to create experiential opportunities for young people so that we can expand support for the over 203 manufacturers who exist in Dutchess County. These locally owned businesses manufacture just about everything. Bearings for Boeing, Airbus, and even the Mars rover. We have one company, you know its name, it has 3 letters in it, who provides equipment that's utilized by 90% of the world's financial institutions right here in Dutchess County. Another makes the microchips in high-demand cars throughout the globe. You know this. Try to buy a new car today, you're waiting for the microchip. Many built here. Companies all throughout our community are desperate for skilled labor and an expanding workforce. There are hundreds of job opportunities in the manufacturing world here in Dutchess County. And so together with Dutchess Community College, we'll be investing in the creation of this lab to support the growing logistics industry, training professionals for supply chain automation. Individuals will, within this particular program, will gain technology skills that are highly valued by today's rapidly innovating companies. This is our effort to have our educational outcomes meet our economic needs. And I'll use this as a moment to say that is something we need. We need it in community colleges. We need it in K through 12. We need it at every level. Educational needs must meet educational outcomes must meet economic needs. We need to encourage young people to be inspired thinkers and learners. If learning with their hands and learning a trade is what they do best, then teach them that. Don't make them feel as if they're worth less because they don't necessarily want to go to 8 years of secondary higher education or they want to work as a mechanic and not necessarily a doctor. And we have a lot of lawyers, Judge, a lot of lawyers, just saying. We could use some more good ones, that's true. But we also need plumbers and electricians and folks who work in manufacturing labs, manufacturing businesses. All of this is critically important to expanding our workforce and creating opportunity. And we've done this in every segment of our population. And one area that we've been focused on, as you know, through our Think Differently initiative, has been creating job opportunities for those who are differently abled. Think Jobs is a partnership with the WIB and local Workforce Investment Board and local businesses to create job opportunities for those of every ability. Those with intellectual and cognitive disabilities have an 80% unemployment rate, 80% unemployment rate, and we seem almost willing to accept that. Not here, not in this community. And so we'll continue to expand opportunities for those differently able to access a job and to think ahead. One of the only community colleges to offer a college-level experience for those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We'll continue to expand that effort this year, graduating 9 new students in the 2022 graduating cohort. We look forward to acknowledging our 4th graduating class of Think Ahead. Additionally, we're going to continue to invest in our young people. Summer youth employment has been a critical component of creating opportunities for young people, funding a variety of summer youth programming through our agency partnership grant program. One such effort in partnership with Artifact, using their funding to hire young people for an 8 weeks arts and media program, trying to connect kids with their love of arts and media development. All of this is an effort and designed to prepare young people for the future, to connect them with job opportunities. As was noted already, thanks to the county legislature, we've committed millions of dollars of federal assistance to our Learn, Play, Create grant program. In 2021, $3 million of funding to 147 projects supported by non-for-profit organizations that directly serve children and young people throughout Dutchess County. From arts to sports to libraries, we invested in those kids and those organizations deprived a year of fundraising or participation due to the pandemic. We will expand and continue that initiative this year with another $1 million committed to the Learn, Play, Create grant program. But the cornerstone of our efforts to invest in young people will be our state-of-the-art youth center, the U. The Youth Opportunity Union is more than a building. It is a model. We're grateful that we're able to partner with the Harlem Children's Zone using their experience, their model, their investment to grow this $25 million commitment to the construction and development of a county-wide youth center, the U, in the city of Poughkeepsie. This space and the services we provide will be welcoming and inclusive. It'll be the incubator, the laboratory where we create new opportunities to connect young people with the services and support they need to achieve success. All of this focused on recreation, education, health opportunities, mental and physical health opportunities as part of our Path to Promise initiative to build opportunities for young people no matter where they are, no matter what families they may come from, what challenges they may face, investing in them, giving them opportunity, acknowledging that they have value, and inspiring them to be successful. As part of this effort, just a week ago, the county legislature voted to approve the purchase of Camp New Teaming. Yes, the adoption of Camp New Teaming is part of this effort to expand opportunities for young people. This 272-acre camp in Pleasant Valley we purchased from the Boy Scouts of America. Partnering with a non-for-profit organization, Pathfinder, to operate, we will use this property as a camping and outdoor experience for young people and families. We'll build programs around enrichment and enriching activities, creating access for students and young people throughout Dutchess County. Working with partners like the Dyson Foundation, we are planning a full summer camp recreation and learning experience. This year, this summer, we will dedicate the resources necessary to bring 1,000 Dutchess County youth at no cost to them to Camp New Teaming. Legislators Sagliano and Houston, we will partner with the towns of Pleasant Valley, Town of Washington, Village of Millbrook, and other not-for-profit organizations, including but not limited to Pathfinder, our own Path to Promise, the U, Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, Community Matters 2, Real Skills, the Rock Club, Nubian Directions, and Snug, partnering together to bring 1,000 Dutchess County young people to Camp New Teaming to take advantage of that opportunity at no cost to them. Investing in our assets is critically important, and investing in resources like Camp New Teaming and county parks add to our quality of life. Dutchess County remains committed to all of our county parks, including Dutchess Stadium, which, like Camp New Teaming, is a public-private partnership meant to create access not only to baseball, but to family fun and memories made for nearly 30 years. Despite the fact that rising costs continue to slow, if not shutter projects, Dutchess County will continue in partnership with the new ownership group at the Hudson Valley Renegades to propose to the legislature a new path forward to invest in Dutchess Stadium. We'll do that later this year. But as we kicked off our home season last night, the New York Yankees-affiliated Hudson Valley Renegades not only won, but welcomed several thousand guests and visitors to Dutchess Stadium, but they've also committed to continuing to think differently. In partnership with CureMark, they've opened a sensory-safe suite at Dutchess Stadium for those individuals confronting sensory challenges. We're also making investments at Bowdoin Park, a new playground. We're completing the final design stage as we speak, with that to be completed next spring. Wilcox Park, we're moving forward with the design, and we are on order, aiming for installation of a new splash pad later this summer. There are some supply chain issues, if you haven't heard. And we are moving forward with the development and enhancements at Quiet Cove Park, new parking and access. Additionally, as you know, we are engaged in an effort to expand our rail trail system throughout, our linear parks throughout Dutchess County. Our urban trail work is underway. In fact, the first section of phase 1 will be completed later this year, and that will get you from Parker Avenue to West Cedar Street in Poughkeepsie. We have worked for a decade to prepare for the challenges we face today. And I encourage you, as elected officials, as partners, as residents, to meet this moment. I often have told people that we are very fortunate to work where we work. Whether you're the county clerk or the comptroller, or perhaps a member of the county legislature or staff at the county office building, you report every day to a building on Market Street. And on the block where we work, on the very space next to our building, men that you know, Alexander Hamilton, and some that you don't, Melancton Smith, met at the former Dutchess County Courthouse. In that place, on the block where we work, they came together to debate and ultimately ratify the Constitution of the United States here in Dutchess County. On a hot July in 1788, in the Dutchess County Courthouse, they debated the very foundation of this great American democracy. And they set forth before us a promise that we have struggled for generations to fulfill. But in fact, New York, in that effort to ratify the Constitution on the block where we work, they came together and would only do so if we as a nation embraced a statement of individual rights. We know it now to be the Bill of Rights. And with that promise, we ratified the Constitution on the block where you work, setting in motion this American government based on three very valuable and important words: we, the people. They understood then, as we must understand now, that we are only stewards to this promise. We are temporary, not only in our lives, but in our service. But we have a responsibility to help fulfill that promise, to build a government of, by, and for the people, committed to providing services and support to the people we work for. We shouldn't expect those residents to work for government. It's not what they created on the block where we work. Now, years prior to the adoption and ratification of that Constitution, in a letter to his wife Abigail, John Adams set forth to her what he thought would become our challenge generations later. Through all the gloom, he said, "I see the rays of ravishing light and glory. I can see that the end is more than worth all the means." We are the heirs to that promise, built on the block where we work. I encourage my friends in county government to not miss this moment, to not let it go past us. We have built for this very moment. We've made tough choices. We've come together in times of great challenge. We've celebrated together. We've mourned together. And we've made decisions that have helped strengthen this county government and the life and lives of our community. I encourage you, as I can, to look through all the challenges of our day and see the rays of ravishing light and glory. That opportunity is just on the horizon if we are willing to lean in against the wheel and meet this moment together. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the state of Dutchess County is strong, but together we will make it stronger. God bless you, and thanks very much.